Good.
All right, talking about Walking Dead.
Okay.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of We Talking About. Today we're talking about Walking Dead, Episode 4, Season 7.
Yes. So
this episode was kind of a wind down.
Okay.
Nothing crazy happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I don't want to say it's a filler episode because it wasn't a bad episode, but
Right.
it wasn't. There was no like water cooler moments really. And can you believe that shit happened? Like
Right. This is an episode about people and them talking to each other and stuff
exactly.
and emotions and feelings.
And it was like again. I said it wasn't a bad episode, but like, if you were to like be like, what was the best part of this episode? I don't think you have one.
There's not. Well, it wasn't that kind of episode, right?
No.
So there's like yes.
So Negan comes to the door, and it's time to collect shit.
Yeah. He shows up early.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just cross out all the things we skipped here.
At least a couple days early.
He says, you said a week. You're early. And he goes, I missed you, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
No, he's a nice character. He had a couple of good lines in this that like I'm like, oh, you're someone that I could enjoy watching.
I hope the rest of the world is receiving him as well as like I am, because I'm really enjoying it.
A lot of people are saying Negan the new Daryl.
Really?
Yeah.
But he's a monster.
People like monsters.
But he's a monster.
Yeah.
All right. The new
Monster
Daryl
usually equals badass. Well, because
Yes.
Daryl's a bitch now.
So is everyone just forsaking Daryl because he's
Daryl will make a comeback.
Yeah.
Daryl will come back into our hearts. But at the moment, and I thought they were going to say it like at the end of this episode where it was like, all right, Daryl, you can talk again. Like, I thought it was be like, if you talk, one of them dies.
That was literally what I was gonna say.
But they didn't vocalize that. Whether they'll say it next week or if it's all implied, we'll see.
This show likes to make things kind of clear eventually.
It was certainly implied, though.
Oh, yes. Because several times they're like, what you got to say about that, Daryl? Just say the word, we'll do it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, maybe Daryl can convince me he wants to stay. Daryl, I'll tell you what, you can have your bike back. Just say you want it.
Say the word.
Yeah.
And he just goes, doesn't like do anything. And you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, so like last episode was the Daryl episode.
Yep.
How did that leave off? How did this happen to Daryl? They just drug him out.
Daryl was
took him
back
in
in the cell with the music playing.
Yeah. Cried a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight, we thought, had like a moment.
Yeah, Dwight more and more obviously just wants to be Daryl. He's riding
With
his
the
bike
bike and
now. He's got his
stuff.
fucking vest. He has his crossbow.
Yeah.
He's just trying to be, Daryl. And he's not Daryl.
Who doesn't want to be Daryl, though?
Well,
That's
everyone
awesome.
watching wants to be Daryl, and I guess he's
Yeah.
watching from really close. So
Yeah, he's a front row seat for the Darylness.
yeah,
I
I'm
do
just
hope-
not liking what he's putting down. He's like this
No.
weird he's not likable, and he's not someone that I'm like he's so bad that like he's good. He's just like a dude who's on set, and I'm like, can we kill him already? Like, come on.
No, I was gonna say, I really hope Daryl gets to kill him or something. Whoever gets to kill whoever.
Something, Jesus.
So we meet like real quick. Arat, I think, is this woman.
Yeah, Rot, the girl who's like his like third in command. I
Yeah, I was
guess.
gonna say because Simon's not
Who
there.
you just
I
meet.
guess she's his his left hand woman
Yeah,
or something.
and she's loud. That's about it. You don't really know anything about her.
No,
and
you
then
like-
she yells, "You heard him, boys!"
Yeah. You learn
Something,
zero.
something.
You learn zero things, but she scowls and holds a gun and walks around,
Yeah.
and he orders her around a few times. I think she has to eventually fight Michonne.
I was just gonna say she's like
that's how
things
fucking
square
things
off.
work,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's so cliche though and horrible, but I feel like it's perfect for this like show to do that.
Or
at some
Rick
point.
will fight her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then who gets to fight Negan? They have like a vendetta now.
Nah,
Mag-
Carl's
you want-
gonna fight
okay.
Negan.
I'm like, you want Maggie to fight her? It's like, no.
Carl.
I want Carl to like snap and like restrain him and then talk about like I'm gonna have to make this like a salami slice and go this whole thing and just like fucking like Dexter him out. So this episode is all about tension.
Yeah, and
It's
just
all
like
about-
like feeling vulnerable and how much you really are in lack of control here.
Yeah, he fucking hands Rick Lucille, and then proceeds to like rape and pillage basically in this horrifying way. There's like you don't decide what we take, I do, and all that stuff. And just like every time Rick's kind of like, well, we're just gonna do that. He's like, no, we're gonna do this or whatever.
You said half. Half is whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
It could be half of all your possessions, which includes all of your medicine and guns.
Well, and you find out much later that he's leaving the food, so maybe he's taking more of other stuff. But really, he can just take whatever he wants. I
Yeah.
wondered about this the whole time. We actually
Uh-huh.
called this out in like previous interactions,
Mhm.
where it's like, shouldn't they take half the pigs? Do they have more pigs? What? How do they know that's half of the pigs? What's going on or whatever? But it turns out he's just a bastard and takes whatever he wants, or like
Yeah.
you just have to make them happy in whatever way.
It might be like
makes
one,
sense.
like once you've built your rapport. So in the beginning, it's like, well, what do you have? I want all your good stuff. Period.
Yeah.
And then once you've taken all their good stuff, it's like, all right, just I need vegetables. I need this. I need that. I need this. Like,
Yeah.
keep it coming.
Right, and I don't know. This walked a very like whatever line. Yeah, Daryl takes guns. We'll talk about Michonne later. Fuck it,
Sure.
we're in the town with Negan right now.
Negan's in the town.
The camcorder business
Yeah, he finds his original interview tape,
with Deanna,
and then
he sa-
tapes over part of it, ruining it forever.
and he says like, ooh, look at you there. You know, like I would not have messed with this guy, but you're not that guy anymore, are you? And
he's
Rick's
not.
Rick's just making this face the whole time. Made me feel I felt so bad. It's so shitty.
But Negan
the
was
situation that
totally
they're in.
accurate on A, just his look, but B, his actual demeanor and actions at that point. Fucking Rick was, I will rip your throat out and take your village kind of guy at that time.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I don't want any death, I don't want any violence, take all my guns.
I think
Thank
he's
you, sir.
he's like broken down. I think
Pretty
it's
much.
this horrible thing. It's horrible to see it, and it's horrible to feel like being in that position or being any of those people now.
Well, like picture like
Whatever's
anytime you're playing a
happening.
game or anything, and you get to
Yeah.
that point where you realize you can't win.
Yeah.
But now picture it's your whole life.
No, I know. And I play certain games where sometimes like the match lasts like a certain amount of time and shit goes bad early on. You're kind of stuck there. You're not supposed to leave early. You have to see this match out, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
I hope they're planning something though. So we already talked about the half means half.
Mm-hmm.
Negan's peppered through this whole thing with these cool lines. He mentions Carl's like giant man-sized balls
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and you're like, I love this guy. He's taking all their medicine though. That's not good.
I thought that was going to be, they're taking all our formula, or like something like that. Like something like
Yeah.
they actually don't need it all, and like it made sense to stand up for. But I'm like, you're not going to win this one, kid. They're going to take your medicine.
No, and weird almost, I guess, because he's young and like his prefrontal cortex is not fully developed yet. But he was literally, they were gonna cut your arm off. So like,
Yeah. Do you think shooting at them is smart? I thought he
I
was
don't
going to
know.
lose something for that. Like,
right?
but Negan, that proves he's not a total bad guy. He didn't
Yeah.
really do anything. He took the guns, and he was going to take them anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And
And
so,
I
like,
think,
making that the punishment for that action is very generous.
And I think that's sort of how he works. Like he sort of knows what he wants to do anyway, but he makes it into a thing. Like you fucked it up. Like you're
Yeah.
in prison, right? You know.
No, and that makes sense. It's like,
Yeah.
this is your fault, Carl. You fucked us.
No, it's a good approach. I don't know. I don't like. We'll talk more later, I guess. But so he mentions. Well, I think my favorite thing, and it's a mean thing to say or
Mhm.
whatever the fuck, was when then they go to the armory because the Carl thing he just said like, well we're gonna need all your guns, and he goes, we have them in one place, we'll go here or whatever.
All right, you
And
put a fat girl
It
in
says
charge
like,
here.
I can't be the first one who's pointed this out, but you got yourself a fat lady in charge of your rations or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's hilarious.
No,
'cause
he's
it's
a
true.
dick. Yeah.
And he is a dick, but that's just like the freedom to be able to walk around and say that type of shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And like
Well, when you're all
throughout the whole-
powerful.
yeah, throughout the whole thing, like, but he's having fun with it, which I like, because that's fun for us, when he's like, when he's like, are you turning down a trip to Pussy Town? Is your Winky Dink not working and all that stuff when he's talking to like
Yeah.
Dwight in one of the other
Oh, he's
episodes?
like, your dick got bit. Does it still work?
Does it not work, or is it? And just like fucking, ugh.
It works. I just haven't earned it yet.
So Rick is at the church pleading with the town that we need to find these last two missing guns that aren't in the manifesto. They want, they're gonna
Yeah.
shoot. They're gonna.
If you're gonna steal guns from your fucking thing, why not just mark them out or delete them from the records
Yeah.
or something? Like, it's such a dumb thing. And that guy was second in command of this whole fucking place at one point. He doesn't know how shit works.
No, and like if he had stolen them, he had to have access to all that stuff. I don't know if
Yeah.
he brings the book home or how this works, but just that's so weird.
Bush
or
League
whatever.
bullshit.
And the like manifest has to also then account for all the other guns that are not there. So there must be other guns not there, right? Or are all the guns usually there? I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
They haven't mentioned that shit in a while, so like whatever.
Well, it might have just been like all the guns that weren't there. They just took off the people that were personally holding those guns.
Yeah. And they probably went through the manifesto and said, okay, these are the 4 we got, out of the car on the way out, and this is that, and okay, home of that. Well, we're short 2 guns. What are we gonna do about this? But yeah, they're in Spencer's fucking cubbyhole with liquor and like canned goods and all that stuff. Rick.
Yeah, I always hate shows that when you find out that someone like has been stealing food or hoarding things. You're like, nobody has anything.
Yeah.
And you're being a fucking putz. If you were to die, that food is just wasted in the fucking wall.
That's true. And this is a world where people can die at any moment.
Any moment, yeah.
So later, Rick. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Don't leave us in suspense there, Lee.
So. Oh, we're there already.
Are you gonna say the part where what's his face?
Well, so I was gonna say that Rick like confronts Spencer about having the shit and says he has much the same attitude that we just had.
Pretty much.
But he says like that's because you're small and because you're weak and all that stuff. And then Spencer's like, "Come on, man, what the fuck?" Blah, 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 blah.
Like, and you brought us to the promised land. I'm so glad. Glad like Glenn and Abraham probably were, right? And then Rick just like stops and says without turning, he's like, "If you mention them again or anything like that, I'm going to break your jaw and knock out your teeth. Do you understand me?" And nothing says it for a second. He's like, "Say yes. Yes." And then just like you hit play, his gated walk just continues to go. He still wears the belt. Have you noticed he wears this like the policeman's belt in like every episode? He can't possibly have anything left in any of these things. Like there's nothing like a gun anymore. Police belts don't hold your pants up. They go over your pants. Like you have a belt on, and then you have one of these belts.
I think it's just
Is he just wearing it because it's like part of his uniform?
I think it's part of the wardrobe, or maybe he's got like some peanuts in one of those pouches.
Just a very heavy thing to carry for
like
nothing.
A thing there. I notice that?
Yeah. It's bothered me for quite some time.
Did it?
Because I'm like, there's nothing in those pouches. He's just holding the like. It just has a like what?
He's had a gun until quite recently though, and doesn't let the gun go on there.
The gun does go in there, yes. But
so he may stop wearing it now that he has no gun.
We'll see in next episode.
We're gonna have to track this.
If it's a them episode, I feel like next episode will be a Maggie episode
somewhere else. I hope so. It's about time.
It'll be Maggie in the hilltop with Jesus.
But I wanted to say, Jesus too. We can fight Negan with Jesus. What I was gonna say though, I got a very Negan vibe from Rick saying like "say yes" and all that stuff and making him do his thing. I thought that was really funny and interesting.
Well, he might be turning back to his old self because he was about to club Negan down. He was clutching that fucking Lucille like real hard and thinking about it. He's like, all right, I could do this, but we're all gonna die. And like who was it that had this point? Michonne. Like you gave up all of our guns. We've got everything we have so far by fighting for it. And now you've given up our guns. Yeah. And like you do have a point. Like the governor, I think, had numbers on you, and a tank, and you beat him. Like,
yeah. So, right. So we think this is more about like the. I don't know if the show is trying to sell me that like Rick's being reasonable here, or if he's like. Or like this is more about Rick than it is about the situation.
There are certainly no-win situations, and I'm not going to argue with that. There's many movies where I go, well, it's the time to put the barrel in your mouth and call it a day. You lost.
It's over.
But this did not strike me as that one. Like on the first day when you're taking Maggie, trying to get her to a doctor, and you come across 7 dudes on the road, you could have just went and killed all 7 of them pretty easily.
Yeah.
The next one you came to, a very similar one, and they potentially wouldn't have known you killed the first group. And you had them all in your size groups while you had a box and they were out in the open. Yep. Now, there ended up being like, probably 100 of these people or something, and you probably would have lost. But you might not have lost. And even toward the end, when you still had an armory full of guns and even just the hilltop people, like...
Yeah, and a town full of your own, less trained, but still... Like,
just people with guns that hate somebody, pretty powerful. And guns make everybody a good fighter.
And in the previous season, they had a whole montage devoted to like the town coming together to fight the zombies.
Yeah.
And like rise to the occasion and all that stuff. And that church had people, was reasonably packed with people.
Yes, like you had this ability, but now it's gone. Because you had enough guns to supply the hilltop with people. There's a whole other village out there you don't know about. You had enough guns to give them guns. Like, you had a lot of power.
Yeah.
Squandered.
No, and this is so like this goes back to like one of the things I was saying, and it makes sense, I guess, that he take their guns, but at the same time, it doesn't to me because he wants them to go do stuff, and like
They
you
have
need to
knives.
be able to. I know that, but like, not everyone I think is like.
But it's that
I
same
don't.
thing. If
It
they
still
if they
bothers me.
die,
Yeah,
he doesn't get half. Yes, but if they rise up and even just some of his people die,
I know.
he loses more.
Yeah,
It's not that big of a deal to let them die. And I don't think they're gonna die.
yeah,
They've proven they're survivors. They have such a wall; they could grow food from inside it and like do shit.
I know. Seems
Something that
extreme.
bothered me, I thought, was squandering was Michonne shooting at zombies.
Yes.
She shot and missed like 5, 6 times. Bullets are very precious, especially to like
Yes.
a rifle that has the ability to like snipe shit.
Yeah.
If you're not good at it, don't try. And then she ended up killing it with a fucking sword anyway.
Well, so that's the thing that we skipped. In the beginning, the episode opens. Rick and Michonne are in bed, not cuddling,
Mhm.
and then she gets up first and goes and sneaks
Yeah.
out with this gun. It's a sniper rifle. She starts shooting. I remember when I was watching that, I'm like, that's making a lot of noise. And then I'm like, oh shit, she's like freaking out. She's like breaking down. This is her like, like when we've had various people.
Mhm.
We had what's his name that gets his leg cut off, go out on his own and kind of freak out.
Yeah.
We had Sasha like lay down in the corpses and freak out or whatever. I thought this could be like Michonne's little like kind of like not freaking out but like coming unhinged a bit because
Yeah.
that's super wasteful. That's
It
like
was just
super bad.
ridiculous.
And later he mentions that she was practicing. And I was like, oh, does she just use the sword? Like she shoots stuff. What the fuck? Does she have to practice? And she was like shockingly bad at like shooting the zombie. Was like shockingly close.
I took that as like she's practicing. She's gonna snipe Negan one day. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah,
But she's shockingly bad. She should stick to the sword.
I guess. And like, I like my second note is she has her sword because they took all their weapons away and they don't show them giving their weapons back. But she has her sword. Like I've been tracking in like my brain or whatever. Like Daryl's crossbow, her
No,
sword.
she had the sword
the
when they
people's, like,
left in
things
the
or
group.
whatever.
I thought when they went to the
From
RV,
that
I
first
thought
episode
she had
or
it.
whatever?
Yeah.
So like they must have like thrown it back at like the last minute or off camera.
But
or
of all the
something like
things you
that.
would steal, that's something you would steal.
Exactly.
Like that was just strange.
That's
just
so like
because of her
defining for her
character,
that
yeah.
I was like she has to keep having that, but how do they explain that she has that or whatever, and why they're not taking it from
Yeah.
her? But
They took her deer though, that she
I
accidentally
hated
killed.
that. Yes, she took her deer. So like she accidentally shoots a deer and then carries it home because it's food or whatever, and then Rick's able to like use that to explain like, oh, she was hunting with this. This gun's not on the manifest, whatever.
We
And you're
leave it
like,
out by our
okay.
deer blind.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I guess that's fine, whatever. Michelle makes a great point though about like this is like what? No, this is horrible or whatever. She talks later at length, but even in that first like Rick's like, give me a second, and like runs over to her and says like, listen, and all that stuff like like we have to give them this gun that they don't know about because the shit's so extreme or like
But he's
whatever.
totally right though, because if you just came across any of them with a gun, and potentially Rosita, who we haven't talked about yet, who when going to get Daryl's bike for fucking what's his name, Dwight. Sees some of the people they killed earlier, and one of them has a gun, so now she has a gun with no bullets in it, but she has a gun. But like even just finding her with that gun, any of them with a gun, is violating the peace treaty, and someone's probably gonna die.
I guess, but it's kind of like, I don't know, like if you run into them and they have a gun, they're like, yeah, I'm out here trying to get stuff for you, and I found this gun. I'm gonna give it to you next time you come over, but now for now I'm gonna use it to get you even more stuff. Like.
I feel like that's wishful thinking what a rational person might receive that as.
Sure.
But this is not that. I think they'd be like, "Where'd you get that gun? What's with that gun? Give me your arm." Cut your hand
No,
off.
I see why Rick is scared. Totally, it's a scary situation to like be in.
Especially having kids, because at any moment the next person would be like, "You know what? I think would make you believe this if I took your toddler and threw her out the window." Like,
We're gonna cook her in the barbecue.
I have no reason to believe Negan wouldn't do that.
Oh no,
These are baby back ribs. The ribs on your baby's back.
100% he would do that.
Yeah.
But Rosita has that gun,
And she needs bullets, so she goes to Eugene.
who we know can make bullets.
Eugene, I need bullets. I need one, she says, actually. I need one bullet.
Well, so in the middle of the episode, Negan fires a gun. He's like, "Have you been taking care of my guns?" Oh, Rick, and like shoots it and like blows out like a stupid window. And they cut to like the casing falling to like the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
It stays there the whole day. Rosita picks it up, brings it to Eugene because he can make bullets, but not from like scratch. He can take existing casings and do like the press and like make them into bullets or whatever.
So she'll have a bullet.
She wants one bullet, and I wonder whose name is going to be on that bullet.
Oh.
Probably Negan.
Maybe yourself.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, grim. That's so dark.
But so are we at the very end of this episode right now, or you have one more thing?
Well, so we've gotten to the end. Still have numbers. We just got to accept it. I don't know what I'm saying. So, like, the very end, like, that thing with the bullet is the very end. Right before that, you find out that the beds were just burned outside of town.
For me, that's the... They just took them just to demoralize and fuck your ability to sleep. Why should you ever be comfortable?
That's so awful.
But he said they took most of the beds.
Yeah.
So I sensed that could start an inner turmoil. Like, well, why do you get a bed? Blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. No. You know, a little civil unrest.
Yeah, it's so rude.
It's so rude because there's like beds. You can't even get more beds.
Who's making beds?
But honestly speaking, if you went to like a Sleepy's, who looted beds? They're probably still there.
And every house has beds in it, and most of them aren't covered in soup, zombie death.
Yeah.
You probably get more beds.
But those were like new, awesome beds for some reason.
And they went with the rooms. They were part of the town
They did.
already.
His headboard was still mounted to the wall. Because they took like the box spring and it wasn't just
Yeah.
a mattress on the ground.
No,
Like,
that's crazy. They were like disassembling the
very
bed.
strange.
I don't know. I feel weird about
But
this
crazy
whole thing.
tactics are just that crazy.
I think that I've demonstrated that I don't have the mind of the Negan here, and I'm not on the same like wavelength as he is, because a lot of his actions are making me go like, why would you do that though? That seems like such a bad thing. Wouldn't you want them to be like sleeping in beds? Like,
No,
it's
you
so
want
weird.
them crazy and off their game.
Is that? I guess I don't know.
You don't want your enemy strong.
Yeah,
It's like the same reason like you take all the male babies because you don't want them to be able to train things against you.
No, I understand that, but I guess because I know the people of Alexandria and I understand like the fucking situation, that I'm just like, come on.
Nah, most
Don't
of
do
his
that.
actions make sense to me. The wasting of the one bullet, though, I'm like, don't waste bullets. Negan.
The wasting of that single bullet, and that might come back to literally haunt him / kill him.
Which could be very humorous.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mess with Rosita Scorned.
Oh yeah, because she has personal vendettas too.
You killed her ex.
So if Maggie's not gonna do it,
Yeah.
then it'll be alone.
So you think they just covered up the Maggie, like said Maggie was dead because
Oh, we
she's
didn't
at the
even mention
hilltop,
that.
and they didn't want to say they had any association with the hilltop?
All right, so we didn't even mention that as like
The preacher.
well, he goes and he even makes it a horrible, disrespectful thing too. Negan, he's just like, where's the one? Based on her reaction, I think she was together with number
They're
two.
hollow
you know.
inside. Not for long.
Right? They're just empty inside, if you know it. But not for long, if you know what I mean. Does this fucking thing, whatever.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're just like, fuck. And then, like, yeah, Father Gabriel, and, like, they tell you, like, minutes later, but for, like, a minute, you're, like, led to believe that perhaps Maggie died after whatever happened off camera.
I never believed that.
No. Well, they're trying to make you think
Yeah.
that, though, because they cut to, like, them by a grave, and he's like, oh, that's a shame, or whatever. But yes, they went somewhere else instead of going back to town. Actually, Tara is gone, too. Tara, Sasha, and Maggie. So
Wait, who's Tara?
that is the one who was the lesbo with the
Oh, you're right.
chick that got the arrow through the head.
Yeah.
I didn't see her. She didn't talk.
No, I didn't see her at all.
If she was there, she didn't talk, which is
Yeah.
possible, I guess. So I have no idea where they went. Was Tara at the thing?
She was not.
Huh.
Which doesn't make any sense, actually.
She had a baby in real life. No, she's done having the baby, though. I don't know what happened. But I'm pretty sure she wasn't there.
There were a whole bunch of hilltopper, regular people we didn't see, like the dude with the dreadlocks. Respect the dude. We didn't see him at all.
That's true.
There's a lot of people we didn't see.
Eh,
They just weren't in this episode.
yeah, they didn't have the ability to whatever them.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens next week with her. I think it'll be a Maggie episode
We
next
need
week.
to like visit them now, right?
Yeah.
So we've
It'll
like
be a Hilltop Jesus Maggie episode.
right.
Yep.
Jesus /
That's
the other
that's
people
my
there.
prediction anyway. You concur?
I hope that'll be it, because I'm even more desperate to know what's happening with them.
Well, let's find out next week, guys. Until then, don't die in a fire. Let us know in the comments below what you think is going to happen next week. And go fuck yourself.